So welcome to Wealth Unleashed webinar. It's such a joy to have you all join this beautiful, beautiful evening. As is our custom, we'll just dive straight into the business of the day. We're looking at a series of lectures over the past couple of months, and the framework for this series has been the Be, Do, Achieve framework. For the being, it's about personal transformation, and we did mention that that's the foundation upon which we build our wealth. And that's very, very critical, and you will never graduate from that school of having to become the superior version of yourself again and again. All right. I wouldn't want to dwell too much on these preambles, just to give a head start to what we want to look at today. And then we said the second phase, which each and every one of us must master on our journey to financial freedom, is income generation, planning, and application. All right. And that's where we have been. We've covered a significant part of the personal transformation training. And so far, we've been looking at the second phase. And of course, we said the third phase in our journey to creating wealth and our journey to financial freedom is asset accumulation, optimization, and retention. And that's pretty much the more or less like the final leg in your journey. And it's a critical thing to look at also. And these are the things that we're going to cover in the next over the series of lectures that we've been having. And so last week we wrapped up on how to save. Okay, we looked at how to save, and then we looked at where to save last week, and it's been an exciting journey so far. And so in the second phase, which is income generation, planning, and application, we did mention that if you are not making money, then there are three possibilities. You start begging for money. When you run out of people to beg from, you start borrowing money, and when you run out of people to borrow from, then you start cutting corners and compromising. And that is none of the three options are honorable, but the third one can even land you in jail. And that's been much about this phase, and that's what we are still looking at. So today we want to look at, how to buy the future. Okay. Years ago, I taught this in a particular conference when I taught on the future is cheap if only you buy it now. The future is cheap if only you buy it now. And then there's only one way to buy the future now, right? If truly the future is cheap, the only way to buy the future now is through investments, is through investing. Okay, so we're looking at buying the future. And the way to buy the future is through investing. And that's pretty much what we'll look at for the next couple of weeks. Like I've said in time past, I don't want to overload you with too much content and then give no room for implementation. So part of the things I would do is to share a series of thoughts and then give you opportunity to ask questions as well as go to implement it. All right. I was still having a conversation with a mentee of mine today, and I said that if you have any particular need, okay, maybe you want to buy a car, you want to go on a vacation with your family or alone, or you want to, whatever it is, any aspect of life where you want to enjoy yourself, right? What you should be focusing on is investments that will pay for it. You want to structure your life in such a way that the proceed from your investment should be able to pay for that measure of enjoyment, that measure of comfort, especially any expense that is not necessarily growing in value, but is a diminishing, it's a depreciating item. You want to make sure that it is proceed from your assets that will finance such purchases. And that's what we'll be looking at in a couple of weeks. So let's talk about investing. Now, there are three things you can do with money. Number one, you can spend it. Okay? That's what average people do. Number two, you can waste it. And this is what foolish people do. Okay? Number three, you can invest it. And that's what wise people do. So they don't only invest money, you can invest time. For example, coming on this program today is a form of investment. You are investing time. Okay? You purchase the book. You can invest money in purchasing the book, but you still need to invest time to draw out the juices in that book. The same thing, you may invest in a webinar, in a seminar, in a course, in a training, right, in a conference, in a boot camp, right? But you still need to invest time to maximize the potential of that program or that course or that seminar or that conference. All right, so it's not only money that we invest, we also invest time. Okay, so and then again, you can also waste time. You can also spend time. So I want you to approach your life with a sense of intentionality, with a sense of duty to your destiny, recognizing that you want to invest your time, you want to invest your money, you want to invest in your relationships, you want to invest in your personal development. Okay, now it was Ayalaria who said, and I quote, he said, whenever you invest, you are buying a day that you don't have to work. Whenever you invest, you are buying a day that you don't have to work. In other words, if you approach your life with a sense of intentionality and duty to start to invest and not just waste money and not just spend money, what you are invariably doing is that you are buying a day or buying a month or buying a year or buying years or decades that you won't have to work. Okay, and this is very, very important. The only way I know that you can multiply your money is by investing. Now, note my words. When you work to solve problems and meet needs, you make money. So we make money by working. And when we work, essentially, we are providing solutions to people's problems. We are meeting specific needs in people's lives. We are adding value to people's lives, you know. And again, the concept of adding value to people's lives essentially is helping to save money, make money, save time, save energy. Anytime you are doing any of these 3 or 4 things, you are essentially adding value to their lives. So it can be by whatever means. It can be providing, you know, different services, you know, different supports and all of that. Okay. So, but that's the way to make money. You make money by working. And every time we work, we're essentially solving problems, meeting needs, adding value. Okay. Number 2, we manage money by budgeting. And I think we looked at that extensively in December when we looked at living above financial pressure. You may want to go watch the replay. Okay. And number 3, we multiply money by investing. That's the only way, not by, you know, aimless talk, not by aimless chats, not by lazing around, you know, engaging in busybody, but by investing. That's the only way we multiply money. Okay. And so let us quickly look at simple fundamentals, you know, for multiplying money, fundamentals for multiplying money. So I want us to look at that very, very, very quickly. Okay. If you can hear me loud and clear, please type 10. If you can hear me loud and clear. If you can hear me loud and clear, type 10. Okay. So I want to look at fundamentals of investing. Fundamental for investing. Excellent. Thank you for that response. It means I'm audible enough and I'm visible. Okay, so let's quickly look at a few things before I get into the fundamentals. It is better to have an investment and not need that investment than need it and not have it. Let me be honest with you, and jokes apart, if you ever feel downcast, if you ever get to a point in your life where you can't point at any asset anywhere that can easily be liquidated to meet specific needs in your life, it can affect your self-esteem. It can even go down to affecting your emotional state. And that was why we started looking at savings, the culture of savings, and now we're talking investing. Like we established in the course of that particular series, we did mention that you don't save as an investment. You save for investment. In other words, savings will enable you to invest. All right. So it is always better to have investment, have assets, not just, I'm talking of asset that when you convert, just thinking about the fact that, okay, you have that property there, you have this investment there, you have that there, even if you have not yet sold it or you have not been able to sell it, it still gives you a sense, a level of conviction, a level of understanding, a level of assurance, okay? And that helps you mentally. And that's what investing does for you. The other important thing I need to mention about when it comes to investing, buying the future, because the future is cheap if you buy it now, is essentially because it helps you, and this is the mindset I need you to possess. It helps you to furnish your asset column. Now, in your life, there are two major columns. You have the asset column and you have the liability column. You also have the income column and you also have the expenditure column. Now, in your life, you want to make sure that there's more income than the things that are taking money away from you. And what is bringing money into your life is more than what is taking money away from you. And it is through investing that you can build up what is bringing money into your life. And it is through consistent investing that you can minimize. That's how you can outweigh. Literally everybody have more channels of expenses, all right? And very few people have streams of income. So now if you furnish your asset column, meaning that you keep acquiring assets that are not only appreciating in value, but they are bringing money into your purse, right? That is the way you can increase your income. So either you are building a new business, you're starting a new venture, whether you're acquiring some kind of asset, whether it's by way of equity or by way of debt, you are investing somewhere and then you are getting a return back. You helped in starting one business there, you put in a little amount of money, and then today the business is worth billions. What it means is that you are also almost worth billions, if you are worth hundreds of millions, if not billions. So the idea and the goal of investing is essentially so that you can furnish your asset column and then ultimately starve your liability column, right? Because anytime you don't set an agenda for your money, other people set an agenda for it. And more often than not, wherever your money goes will define the quality of your financial future, right? Wherever your money goes, if it's going to just you are spending or wasting, clearly you don't have a future. You have eaten up the future. And that's exactly the way a lot of people live. You want to break that habit. You want to break such culture. So let's quickly look at fundamentals of investing. 7 fundamentals of investing. Number 1, and this is what I'm just going to focus on today, narrow in on today, and then we look into more later on. Number 1, whenever you want to invest, okay, begin with the end in mind. In the course of this series, I'm going to show you there are 3 major rules that you must embrace and must fully understand if you truly want to you want to achieve financial freedom. And those 3 rules are: number 1, rule 20, rule 5%, and rule 72. And we'll get into that. One of the beauty of those rules is that it makes achieving financial freedom mathematical. It's predictable. So if you follow that pattern, but again, that rule will not work for you if you don't have the picture of the end in mind. So the fundamental, now listen, I love fundamentals a lot, because in order for you to master any language, you've got to have a good grip of the alphabet A to Z. In order for you to understand arithmetic or mathematics, you need to understand 0 to 9. And 0 to 9 is the fundamental for mathematics or arithmetic, while A to Z is the fundamental, is the rudiment, is the basics, is the foundation for understanding vocabulary and grammar and communication, right? In any language, that's the fundamental. So any area of life where you want to gain mastery, you want to go back to the basics. And that's pretty much why these fundamentals of investing is so important. Now, I don't care how long you've been living. I don't care how experienced you are when it comes to the subject of investing, but follow these simple rudiments. Whenever you intend to invest, or whenever you want to invest, always begin with the end in mind. Where exactly am I going with this? What is my objective? What exactly do I want to achieve? That picture in mind will inform many of the decisions you will take in the present. If you hear me clearly, type 10. Just type 10. If you hear me clearly and you understand what I'm saying, type 10. Number 2 fundamental is there is no such thing as risk-free investment anywhere. Quote me anywhere. There is no such thing as risk-free investment. Now, a lot of times when people hear of the concept of investing and they are seeking for where to put their money, usually people don't want to hear of the idea that there's a potential of loss. There's a possibility of losing their money, right? But you must bear in mind there's no such thing as risk-free investment. What you find is that there are low-risk investments or low-risky investments, and there are moderately risky investments. And of course, there are even aggressively risky investments. All right. In the course of this lecture, I'm also going to touch on the components of wise investing. So please, it's going to be really a buffet, and we cannot load you up in one sitting. And that's why you must take this seriously. The fact that it is coming for free doesn't necessarily mean that it is cheap, right? There are people who have to learn that in a very expensive way. Some never have the opportunity to bounce back again. So I wanted to take advantage of everything here that we're sharing, okay? There is no such thing as risk-free investment. There are only low risk, moderately risky, and aggressively risky investments, okay? So even if you put your money in bank, the bank can go belly up. And I hope for those of you who decide to keep money in bank, apart from the fact that inflation is eating up the value of your money, right? It is the fact that the insurance, NDIC, we provide insurance coverage for bank, for depositors at bank in Nigeria. I hope you know that the maximum coverage is 500,000 naira. I hope you know. You can go investigate what I'm talking about. So even if you like, keep 250 million naira cash in the bank, the maximum that NDIC would pay you is 500,000 naira if that bank ever fails. But a lot of people feel that keeping money in the bank is safest, right? So I'm sharing that with you. Anywhere in the world, you go to America, you go to the United Kingdom, there's a limit. So no insurance body, no insurance company can fully secure the entire deposits, your entire deposit in the bank. So that communicates, that tells you that there's no such thing as risk-free investment. The life you and I live is a risky life, all right? It's a risky life, and you must understand that. Now, there's a connection between risk and return, risk and profits. There's a huge relationship between the two. That's the third fundamental you must bear in mind. There is a relationship between risk and return, or risk and profit. So where there is high risk, there is high return. Where there is low risk, there's also low return. Where there is moderate risk, then there's moderate return. All right? This is so important. So the higher your risk, the higher your return, and vice versa. Always bear that in mind. So every time somebody says, oh, come and put money here, you must work with that consciousness that there's an element of risk associated with that choice of investment. This is so important. This is so important. So Most times, what I've seen again and again is that people prefer the idea of return, but they don't like the idea of risk. You can't have one and reject the other. Okay? You can't have return and reject risk. What you should be asking is, okay, what structures has been in place or is in place to mitigate against such risk? How do I manage such risk? How do I protect myself against the risk of loss of my money, of my investments? Okay, that's what you want to evaluate all of the time. Okay, but that to think that, oh, you will have returns without some risk, then you are pretty much joking and deceiving yourself. So any lecture you get that tells you you can make this amount of money, you can get this 100% here, you can get this 30% here, but they don't tell you the risk associated with such investment, did not tell you the full truth. And this is so important. This is why a lot of people repeatedly keep making the same mistake and losing money. Okay? This is very important. Number 4, the fourth fundamental of investing is that there is a difference between savings and investments. And we talked about that again and again, and I've even repeated it today. You don't save as an investment. It's a bad strategy. All right? It's a bad strategy. But you save for investments. That is a smart move. So that when opportunity presents itself for maximum return, you are able to position and take advantage of that. This is so important. So never save as an investment. As you know, the cost of goods and services are skyrocketing by the day, and it's a global phenomenon. It's just that it is worse off in Africa, in Nigeria, for example. Okay? There's inflation in the UK, there's inflation in the US, there's inflation in Canada, there's inflation all over the world. So what your purchasing power is capable of acquiring 6 months ago, a year ago, is not exactly the same thing anymore. Inflation is what we call the thief of time. So if your 10,000 naira could buy a bag of rice, right? A 50 kg bag of rice, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, clearly it can't buy it anymore. And this is part of the challenge that most people now have. Okay? So if you now only continue to save money, your money will grow arithmetically, but it's not going to grow geometrically. And what's part of that is the fact that the money you save up, right, even though it may have accrued some interest, the same item, your money, your principal, was capable of purchasing. Now that you have even attracted some interest, plus your capital, it will still not be able to purchase those things. I recall this was in 2004, 2005 or 2006. Someone gave an illustration, very powerful illustration. He said a gentleman had this thriving business he was running. I think it was a printing press, and so he had this machine. But the demand for his services was increasing day by day, and he had this amount of money that he could have used to purchase this particular machine. And he decided that, well, rather than buy this machine, was going to put it aside. He was going to put that money aside to do. He was going to put the money aside, to acquire. How do I put it now? He was going to put the money aside in the bank, and then in a few months he would have acquired and gotten a bigger space for the new machine he was going to acquire. And so he saved up the money in the bank. Now, 1 year later, after he has now gotten a space, he went to the same bank to withdraw the money. But unfortunately, the money could no longer buy the same machine it could buy a year earlier. Now, that vast in that time, I understood the effect of inflation on our purchasing power. And savings can't deliver that, which is why even if you have succeeded in saving the money, you must constantly be open, hunting, shopping for opportunities. You must be an investment opportunity hunter, right? And you must constantly be evaluating the attendant risk associated with your choice of investments. Number 5, the fifth fundamental of investing is that you can never be rich if all you do is save money and not invest. Take that from me. You can never be rich if all you do is just save money and not invest. Number six, knowledge and time are veritable tools for minimizing investment risk. Remember that we are shared and repeated again and again that there's no such thing as risk-free investment. From experience and what I've come to understand, it is the fact that time and knowledge are veritable tools to minimize that risk. Okay? Time and knowledge. Time and knowledge. Unfortunately, in this part of the world, there are many things people can't even predict. There are many things we don't control. And so a lot of people are only shopping for, money doublers or money doubling platforms, where you just get something sharp, put 10,000 there, it becomes 10 million. Those are the kind of schemes that already shows that people are uneducated. They lack knowledge. And that anything that offers you something too good to be true is probably not true. Okay? And it is not, especially if it is not verifiable. What exactly is this money being used for? You want to verify. This is so important. So knowledge and time helps to minimize risk. Now, let me tell you this. When it comes to the world of investments, you need to understand that if you know better, you do better. Most of the people who make the most money are not necessarily, quote and unquote, more intelligent than the rest of us. They just had more information about what was working. Now, let me tell you this. A time is going to come, maybe later this year, I will probably host a webinar or seminar, where I'm going to charge $1,000 for a new skill, a new skill that I recently acquired. And I told myself, there's no reason why I should share it for free. And it's just going to be $1,000 for everyone who is going to attend that program. But I guarantee you, there's no way, it's not that you will even make your money back. If you do not drop value and get and receive guidance on what you will do to start generating that amount of money back, then I refund your money back. So it comes with a money back guarantee. Okay? But later this year, I'm going to do a webinar or seminar on that. Okay? And it's guaranteed. When I say guaranteed, it's in guarantee your money back. It's either you get results, your money back. That's how confident I am on this. But time won't permit me to just put out such content for free. Never. I won't, never. If you don't have $1,000, forget it. You're not supposed to be in that class. Okay? Now, I'm not selling the market. I'm just letting you know. Now, there are things you will know. It puts you at rest. It doesn't matter what you don't yet have. It doesn't matter the challenges you are confronted with, right? When you have certain levels of information, access to information, it gives you some level of confidence, not just blind confidence, but you're just at peace, okay? And that's pretty much one thing that does for you. It helps to minimize risk. Again, if you have time, which is why I always recommend young people embrace investment now. You have time on your side. Leverage it to your own advantage. Someone said, and I think it was Bill Gates who was acclaimed to have said that if you were born poor, it's not your fault. But if you give birth to poor children, then you are to blame. Okay? This is so important. Knowledge and time helps you to minimize risk. Knowing that a major development is coming to an area, for example, and going to that area and acquire as much properties as possible automatically eliminates a lot of risk and gives you a lot of possibilities. So today now we're talking buy land in Ekpe, buy land in Ekpe. What do you think is coming to that answer? What do you think has already happened there now? What do you think is still going to happen there in a couple of months, in a couple of weeks, in a couple of years? If you have that information and you don't seize it, then you're literally working against yourself. Okay? Number 7, final fundamental to take note of. Never invest in what you do not investigate. Never invest in what you do not investigate. Never invest in what you do not understand. Never invest in what you do not understand. Listen to me carefully. I understand the real estate very, very well. Not just on a local level, but on a global level. By the grace of God, there are things that I know and understand, that when somebody is talking, I just know whether this person is really seasoned or the person is just blabbing. And I'm saying, I'm not just talking local now, I'm talking globally speaking as well. All right? There are all sorts of deals here and there that people throw out from time to time. And if I did not have the understanding I have, we probably would have been victims as well. So I put it to you today, never, ever invest in what you do not understand. People have invited me, come and do crypto. And they have been cryptonized. People have invited me, come and do this, come and do that. I don't want to be mentioning things, right? But because I don't understand it, and there are people who do. But because I don't understand it, I don't, I'm not a greedy fellow. I'm not looking for quick fix. No. Okay, so never invest in what you do not understand. So always investigate before you invest. If you follow these fundamentals, they are simple. It may look, these fundamentals may look too simple to believe, but if you ever be guided by these fundamentals, you will never, ever regret your investment journey. Okay? Now, let me quickly put this out as a caveat. There's no one you will find on this planet Earth who has created any measure of wealth whatsoever, who has not lost money at one point or the other. But what they do is that rather than stay in their past failure, live in their past failure, build a monument out of their past failure, they leverage their experiences to grow. They learn from their past experiences to advance into the future. And so if you take this and be guided by these simple fundamentals, 7 of them, I can almost assure you the future is very, very bright for you. And like I told you in the beginning, the future is cheap if only you buy it now. The people who are richer than you today are not necessarily smarter. They just position themselves ahead of time. The best time to plant an Iroko tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. I hope you will take steps. I hope you will implement within the coming week. And then if you have any question, I'm here to answer them. Next week, we'll continue and we'll look at 7 reasons you need to invest for the future. Don't miss it for any reason. So I will communicate the time, the exact time. Next week, Friday, I'll be at an event and I'm going to be facilitating quite a few things. So there may be a change in the timing of our Wealth Unleashed webinar next week, Friday. So watch out for the announcements and let's also spread the word. Tell someone to tell someone, except you're not drawing value from this. Tell someone to tell someone to be a part of this. So they don't need to have become a member of the Tribe of Wealthy Origin. Just tell them they can join. Let them call the number 070-8797-0441. And they'll be glad they did because there's still many more things to come. And when the time comes, I might be giving some very special offers only to members of this community that I will not extend to the public. All right. So, and if you want to fully maximize it, then this is the platform you have. The fact that it is cheap doesn't mean it's not coming at a cost. It's coming at a cost to my time. And I could be devoting the same time for something else. But again, I believe that you've made a decision to be a part of this. Tell it to other people, share with other people to take advantage of what we are sharing. Okay. My book, Financial Freedom Master Guide, is a very valuable material that will arm you in your journey to financial freedom. So if you do not have a copy of that book, I strongly want to recommend that you order for that book. Okay. You can call the number 070-8797-0441 to place order for the book. Now, the book is really of immense value. I keep hearing, I read your book. You know, this is the book. This is the Nigerian version. If you live or work in Nigeria, This is the copy you need to get. And it's available anywhere in Nigeria. We can ship it to you anywhere in Nigeria for free. But the book sells for 19,500 naira only. And the price may be reviewed anytime soon, because we certainly are looking at the hike in all of these things. So take advantage of that, and it will be delivered to you for free anywhere in Nigeria. If you live or work outside of Nigeria, the book is available on Amazon, so you can get Amazon copy if you live or work outside of Nigeria. But again, if you want us to ship it from Nigeria, then you have to be prepared to bear the shipment cost. Again, even if you do on Amazon, you certainly will still have to pay for shipment, all right, except you are buying several other materials along with it to qualify for free shipment. So it all depends on you. Take advantage of what we have. So I think I have some questions here. Okay, so please, sir, do you advise to invest in financial instruments like Forex and crypto? Which book do you suggest to teach on real estate? Well, so when it comes to the subject of crypto and Forex, they are not areas of my strength. And I'm aware that there are people who are really doing well in that area, but not many people who invest in there have done well. Many have gotten their fingers burnt because they never studied like the people who are making it there. They were not armed with relevant information in that space. What drove many people into certain classes of investment or certain financial instruments was largely greed, not understanding. So you want to be guided not by your emotions. You don't want to be guided by greed, covetousness. You want to be guided by understanding how these instruments work, and play the small game rather than dip your 2 feet in the river. You want to go with one first to see how shallow or deep it is, to know whether you should put your next feet. And this is important. So that's what I recommend you do, is you find people who are really good at it. You can submit to mentorship. I'm sure there are books and materials that will expose. Listen, what you don't know may be killing you, right? And that's what that is about. So there's a seminar, a webinar, or a course. Buy the course, invest in that to acquire the skill. Because see, once you have the skill, it can continually produce for you, and then you can move money from whatever area of your skill and move it to real estate again and again, and continue to accumulate wealth for yourself and your family. On real estate, even though I spoke a little about this real estate in this book, I have another book titled Home Ownership Made Easy. That book also will help you. I wrote that book 2015. It will also be of tremendous value to you. But you can also go online and check out books on real estate. That will be of value to you. And then, of course, you can sign up for some of our coaching programs or training programs, specialized training programs. If you want me to mentor you or coach you to make money in the real estate, to see where the money is, right? I will show you. And there are many ways you can make money from the real estate space. But for some of us who have acquired these experiences over the past 24 years, right? And what I've acquired over 24 years includes my pains, my sorrow, my setback, my losses, my gains, right? And if you learn from someone like me, you are standing on the shoulder of those who have gone ahead, and it gives you leverage. You will be 20 years older, 20 years smarter than those who are coming behind. Now, listen, you may even be older than myself, but may not have my experience, and that's why you want to find out, take advantage of our coaching programs. Reach out to that number, 070-8797-0441. I am going to be committed. If I can do something for free and I stay committed to it, regardless of my schedule, it tells you what I could do when you pay for it, okay? To order the Financial Freedom Master Guide, just chat the number 070-8797-0441. And then, of course, you can also get this copies of this book and gift it to people. If you have a sibling, you have a brother, you have a sister, you have an uncle, you have a boss, you have a colleague at work that are not doing well with their finances. They make as much money as you make, but they are always broke. They're always out of resources. Gift them this book, right? You may just be saving the life and the generation. All right. So I want to thank you all for your time and for your listening attention. I believe it has been worth your time. So we see again next week, Friday. The time most likely will change because of my other activity. I have a program on Friday and on Saturday, and it's back to back. So there might be change in the timing. Whether it's going to be in the morning, I can't tell. Whether it's going to be later in the night, I can't tell. But what I can tell is that we'll sure make it a date next week, Friday. I want to thank you all once again. God bless you. Have a lovely weekend. Bye for now.